I recently spoke in Texas and also at Con Expo in Las Vegas about workforce development. And I think that there's a lot to be said, and a lot of what we're saying right now is just that we need to do a better job, that it's a problem, but how do we fix it? How do we write better job descriptions? How do we onboard in a way that works? How do we understand what the workforce that we need is looking for so that we can position ourselves so that they want to come work for us? We actually know that there's a huge workforce out there right now. We're just not capturing it very good. So one of the things that I've said periodically in my recent presentations that's ruffled some feathers, but also gotten people to come back to me and say, thank you for just saying that, is that our job descriptions suck. They just suck. I hate reading job descriptions. It's the worst thing. I think if I were out there looking for a job, it would just be so depressing to look at these job descriptions. And we have all these resources and tools that we use in our business that could be applied to recruiting and retaining talent, and we're not leveraging them at all. So one of the simplest things I've been talking to people lately are, how do we write better job descriptions that differentiate us from everybody else out there looking to fill a role, and all the sea of job descriptions that just suck that are out there. And then also, how do we make sure that we're relevant to the people? Job descriptions are just as much about pushing people away that aren't a good fit as they are about attracting the people that are right fit. I would way rather see my clients get fewer people applying for jobs based on the strategy that we're applying to their job descriptions and their recruitment and where they're showing up and what they're saying, versus them getting just a sea of people that then they have to put more man hours and time and resources towards filtering through, and increases their turnover rate. So I think it's just as important that our job descriptions actually deter people that aren't a fit. So what can we do to write better job descriptions? And I hate to tell you this, but it's not about creating a new template. It's about following a couple simple rules. As a matter of fact, we've been following a template that just sucks and it's boring and it's the same. And if we want to differentiate ourselves, we have to follow some rules, but then also allow ourselves to get creative. Tap into your marketing team, tap into communications. And here's a couple rules that I've come up with that help people really stand out, be unique, stay hyper relevant, and also not bore the piss out of everybody that's coming to possibly look for a job with you, and not have that cookie cutter template feel to your job descriptions either. So stay tuned, and I'm going to share a few of those rules that I've created that are working incredibly well. Bars. I use this in my strategy work all the time, but these 3 bars, you have to be able to overcome those bars. And the first one is differentiation, right? So how do you make sure that you stand out and that you're relevant to them? In a sea of job descriptions, you want to be that one that really stands out in the crowd. And then the next one is relevance. We want to make sure that we don't maybe differentiate so much that we lose the relevance. What are our interests and what are their interests, and what is the intersection of that? And why is it so important? And how do we make sure that we stay in that and we capture that, we speak to it, we design our onboarding, our retention, all of those things to stay in this zone of relevance. And then lastly is sustainability, and not the kind of sustainability when we're talking about recycled roads. I'm talking about the sustainability that can we do this over and over? And this is why it's super important to remember that we have to recruit and retain and also leverage what we have inside of our company. This is something that I think we're missing out on a lot right here. We actually have marketing, communications, sales teams, all these techniques that come from this that we can use in our business to give us an advantage. And the companies that take care of these things, that do these things better, the recruiting and the retaining, are the ones that are going to win the war for talent. So here's a couple rules to keep in mind as you're creating better job descriptions. And I'm not going to give you a template because, quite frankly, we don't need another template. What we need is a better way to differentiate ourselves and stay highly relevant. So I want you to start with them in mind. Who is them? It's that employee that you're trying to attract. So start with them. Think about them. What's relevant to them? What about your business would probably resonate with them? And always start with them. Most of our job descriptions actually start talking about the company, the culture, the awards that we've won. Quite frankly, they don't give a damn. They want to know what's in it for them. Everybody wakes up every single morning wanting to be a hero. So make sure that you start with that in mind. And then another rule to follow is don't be afraid to eliminate. A job description should be just as relevant to pushing away the people that we don't want as attracting the people we want. We want to attract, but we also want to eliminate those that aren't a good fit for our company, because we're spending man hours and time trying to filter through those on the backside, and it increases our retention issues if we are attracting bad talent and not identifying that quickly and just looking for warm bodies. So don't be afraid to lean into who is that ideal person and eliminate the people that aren't ideal people. Number 3 is align with your brand. What is your brand? Brand strategy it's how we're perceived in the hearts and the minds of those that we do business with, of those that we serve, we interact with in the community, or partners we're trying to attract. So if you don't have a good bearing on what your brand is and how you want to be perceived in the hearts and the minds of all those key people that influence the success of your business, it's probably worth taking some time to think about that, because how you're perceived by your workforce is super critical too. And you want to make sure that these two things overlap. It's going to give you that relevance piece that we talked about earlier, right? Remember this Venn diagram? It's understanding your brand over here, your brand, and then understanding the workforce. And where does that intersection happen? Then, lastly, the quick rule that I have for you is use bullets, use white space. And I know that this is one thing that a lot of job descriptions have got right, but make it easy to read. And I'll even go a layer deeper on this and give you another little tip is, even if you're trying to attract somebody in an engineering role, you don't want to talk to them at a high level engineering. When we create websites, we actually try to talk in like a 3rd, 4th grader level, because that's how people can consume things quickly. And remember, this is your first or your second introduction to this person. And you're really wanting to make the information feel good, and you're wanting to make it resonate, and you're wanting to capture their attention for a little bit longer. All you're really doing is saying, give me another 3 seconds, give me another 10 seconds, or one more step down this path with me. So make it easy to consume. Use bullets, use white space, and the best places to do this are when you talk about skills, experience, certifications that are needed, benefits of the job. And yes, we do need to talk about benefits, but you'd actually be surprised you don't need to talk about them as early as you think. So those are a couple rules that I think if you follow these, and if you think about these 3 bars, you stay differentiated, relevant, and you use what you already have in your business to be sustainable, then you can follow these rules. Start with them. Don't be afraid to eliminate. Align with your brand, and use bullets and white space. Make it easy for them to consume and read. And then if you have any more questions, or you want somebody to look at your job descriptions and help you make sure that you're really tackling and covering all those 3 bars, reach out to me and I'd be happy to connect with you. You can schedule an appointment when you visit the website at StoryBuilt.marketing.